Playing sports is not gonna get you any fitter. It's not gonna enhance your fitness, and it's not gonna help you in achieving the goals that you set out to achieve. The reason why I say that playing sports or doing activities is not gonna get you fitter is simply because too many athletes I know myself included, loved to play sports growing up. With myself, I'll use myself as an example. I played hockey growing up. I loved to play basketball. I loved golf. I was big into pretty much any sport. Badminton was a fun sport. I loved to play tennis. I loved to snowboard, skateboard, basically any activity you could put me in, I loved, except for volleyball. Just couldn't jump very high when I was younger. At the end of the day though, so many people I know that were athletes, especially a lot of the first responders I work with, typically would say they were fitter when they were younger, or they were fitter when they were getting on with their department or their class or whatever. The reason why I say playing these sports is not going to continue that fitness is there's two big problems. They don't have a high enough intensity to actually elicit a response, a physiological change in the body. And then two, they set you up for repetitive injuries or repetitive movement pattern injuries. So what a repetitive movement pattern injury is we'll take golf for example. If you're constantly doing the same motion in the same direction all the time over and over and over again, your body's gonna start to compensate. It's gonna get stronger in certain areas, in certain muscle groups, and it's gonna get weaker in others. And your body's smart in that if you do not use a particular movement pattern, or you don't put your body into certain positions, your body's gonna start to not produce the actual tissue to help you move better. And so I'll often see a lot of golfers, they spend tons of their time at a desk, driving a car, and then hunched over a golf club. They end up with these kyphosis, or this rounded upper back. And that rounded upper back will prevent them from actually playing their sport that they want. So the approach that they need to take is a balanced approach that's gonna help them move well in all capacities, in all areas. Now, again, there's a lot of nuance behind this. If I'm working with professional athletes, a little bit of imbalance is actually okay. Too much imbalance, again, produces injuries. So there's that fine line. But if I'm working with recreational athletes and specifically first responders, we're gonna work with creating some balance within the body. So those repetitive movements happen less often. To circle back on why playing sports is not gonna get you fitter, is it's just gonna create repetitive movement strains or repetitive movement patterns that produce injuries that can be prevented with a structured, proper training. So what I always encourage people to do, it depends on the person, but at minimum should be training twice a week. First responders, I usually recommend 4 to 5 days a week, but twice a week, at least 60 minutes kind of at a session. But even if we go at that number, with a 60-minute session twice a week, we can work on some things that are going to help balance the body out, build some strength and mobility in areas that maybe it's not being used on a day-to-day basis. And again, first responders, if I look at police officers, they spend a lot of their day with we'll say their belt. Just their belt alone is gonna be lopsided in weight, okay? However heavy your belt is, if you're an LEO, it's gonna be heavier on one side than it is on the other. And so that side of the body, even just walking, is going to experience a little bit more stress than the side of the body that has a little bit lighter side of the belt. Runners are it's constant movement, the same movement, one foot in front of the other over and over and over again. And again, some imbalances will creep up because your body is just gonna do the work. It's gonna get the work done. It's not gonna focus on creating balance, and that's where training comes in. So, do I think you should be playing sports and doing things? Absolutely, as often as possible. One of my favorite things, and the saying actually comes from CrossFit, is to regularly learn and play new sports. I heavily believe in that. I think everybody should, especially the clients I work with, first responders, golfers, you name it. However, that does not replace the need for training in most scenarios. I'm not saying that everybody needs to be a gym rat. What I am saying is that even if you have just a small set of weights at home, you should be doing movements that are going to be conducive into creating balance compared with your day-to-day life. So if you want more information on that, you can click the link in my bio. Love to either chat or hook you up with some training options to help create that balance. But know that if you're playing sports to get fitter, it's probably not doing what you think it's doing.